Welcome back. So we're in this move and restore practice. So again, the sense of moving for a little while and then having the chance to settle in. This week we're talking about releasing what is ready to be let go of, both physically and in anywhere else in your life. So as you all know, this is my last week in this yoga space. So it's been really interesting to, I've had a lot of mixed feelings about it and like moving all the stuff. I'm down to just the few things that I still need here. But I don't feel like I'm in a big amount of like struggle or suffering over it, because though I'm having a lot of mixed feelings, I'm really just allowing them to come in and to myself to feel them and then allowing them to keep on going. I don't have a real sense right now of really needing things to stay the same or things to go in any particular way. I'm in much more of a free space and allowing for things to happen. So I'm not doing a lot of grasping. And I think that idea of like trying to keep things the same, always have them work out exactly in a particular way, it has that feeling of grasping and control. And without that, I have a lot more room energetically, mentally, emotionally to deal with what's going on. But with it, it's like everything contracts and gets very narrow. So in yoga, we're drawing on the teaching of aparigraha, the non-grasping, not clinging to what we think we want or how things are supposed to go or have to be, right? So in practice, that can mean letting your body, be your body, be exactly as it is today, no matter what, how you think it should be, but how it actually is. And then you can be in relationship with that. Working with the body within its limitations. Because when we do that, it helps you to move into what is actually true, what is true in your experience right now. And when you're in truth, there's more peace. There's more sense of freedom. When you're in truth, there's a sense of deep freedom. Doesn't always mean that things feel great, but there is at least that sense of truth and freedom. So when we can release our need to grasp and control and force things to happen, that's when we can settle more deeply into our hearts and connect with peace. And we'll do that in our practice today through some twisting postures as we're moving. And then of course, through restorative postures, those wonderful postures for release, letting go of any gripping or grasping. So start with a seat that's going to help you to connect this morning. Turn your inner thighs down towards the mat and widen the flesh out to the sides of your sitting bones. And sitting up tall, lift the heads of your arm bones up, slide them back, and close your eyes to turn inside. Receive a full breath all the way down to your sitting bones. When you exhale, release any sort of gripping or grasping that you notice in your body. So can you sit in this form without overworking, over-gripping? Soften your jaw and allow your breath to be free and easy. Bring your attention into your own heart space and notice if it's congested with anything that you're trying to work out, control, figure out. That stuff can stay, it's fine, but you just want to look deeper. Below all of that turmoil, anything that's stirred up right now, there is a wellspring of peace that you can always tap into. So now more connected to that deeper space of peace and calm, join your palms and bring them in front of your heart. You may wish to form a particular intention for this practice, please do. And we'll we'll chant one Om to begin. Welcome an in-breath. Bow your head to your heart and release your hands back down onto your thighs. Lift your head slowly back up and open up your eyes. Excellent. And we'll start on hands and knees this morning. Let's just move and breathe with cat and cow. Bring your hands directly under your shoulders and your knees under your hips with your toes curled under. And then take a breath to open up a little bigger on the inside. Let the outer part of your body, your skin, drape over an inner expansion. Then move and breathe. So your thighs go back and your tail lifts. Inhale, lift your heart and look up. Then exhale and scoop your tail round through your spine to look inwards. Inhale, thighs back, move with your breath. Let yourself expand as your gaze lifts. And exhale, round through your spine, look in. And just go back and forth several times on a natural breath pace. Every exhale is this opportunity to release. Release distractions from your mind. Release tension in the body. Release whatever you don't consciously choose to have here with you in this moment. And we don't need much, just our bodies and our breaths. Next time you exhale, come into a neutral spine in the center. And then walk your knees back a couple of inches. Curl your toes under and lift up to downward facing dog. Receive full breath in and full breath out. And then make the arms firm so the hands are in contact with the mat, and certainly do lift up through the arms. Hug the heads of the arm bones back and the shoulder blades to the back of the heart, and feel that as an engagement, but not gripping, grasping, over pulled. Take the inner thighs up and back, and then reach, let's tread the feet for a moment. Reach one heel and then the other on your own pace towards the mat. And that's intentionally to move towards the calves. Our calves don't get as much love in the yoga practice, so do spend a few moments with them now. You can release any extra tightening that may be unnecessary at this moment. And then come back into neutral once you've done both sides evenly. And looking forward towards the top of the mat, step your right foot forward between your hands. Take a deep breath in and charge up the legs. Good. And then lower your left knee down onto the mat. Take your right hand to your right thigh and twist towards the right. Engage. So make your leg muscles firm without gripping and grasping. Yeah. And then you can stay here, or you can take an arm variation that makes sense to you. You can also lift the back thigh if you'd like. Or maybe you want to stick with being right here with the knee down. Maybe that's more supportive for your body. Remember, it's not about trying to force anything to happen. It's following where your body actually is this morning. Exhale and bring your right hand all the way back down to the mat. And then step back to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in downward facing dog, and then step your left foot forward to the top of the mat, lunge. Welcome an in-breath. Exhale to soften and release anything that's gripping, anything that's distracting you. Then bring your back knee down onto the mat. Take your left hand on your left thigh and twist to the left. Welcome a full breath in. And then scissor the legs to the middle to hold you steady. And wrap your heart open. Good, shoulders back. You take the left arm up, or any arm variation that feels good. And of course, if you want to take the right thigh up, lift the right knee if you need. If you're ready for that. If not, keep it down. Make it an expression of, what's really real for you. Coming into the truth of your experience this morning, shoulders back. Nice. Exhale, bring your hand back down. Lift your back knee if it is down and step forward to standing forward bend, Uttanasana. Inhale and extend your spine out. Free and easy. Exhale, fold, release whatever's gripping and holding on that's not necessary. 2 more times like that. Inhale, freedom in the heart, expand. Exhale, bow, release. Like you're blowing away what's clouding the vision. Inhale, heart forward, lift up. And exhale, fold over, legs steady, legs strong. This time reach for the sky with your in-breath. Come all the way up, joining your palms at the top. And exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart space. Take a moment to refresh the intention that you set for yourself in the beginning. Release your arms by your sides. Inhale, lift up, follow your breath. Exhale, bow and fold. Release what we just came before so you can be present now here. Inhale, heart forward, step back to plank. Exhale. Of course, put your knees down in plank if you need to honor your body in your practice this morning, totally fine. And then lower slowly down to your mat with control. Press the tops of your feet down and back, interlace your fingers, and then lifting your shoulders up, curl your heart up, rise up in Shavasana, locust pose. Notice if there's a strain in the lower back or between the shoulder blades, and soften it just a little bit. So you're not overdoing. We're in the place of releasing instead. Exhale, lower, hands under shoulders, curl your toes under, and go up and back to downward facing dog. Keeping the arms firm, hug both legs to the middle, and then press the tops of the both thighs back, and your heels and hands down into the mat. Looking forward to the top of the mat, step or hop yourself forward into standing forward bend, and your feet land in parallel position. Inhale, extend your spine. Exhale, fold. Press the legs down into the floor, reach for the sky, rise upwards. And then join your palms in front of your heart. Exhale. Release your arms by your sides. And inhale, lift up, rise up tall. Exhale, fold. No need to control, you just follow the breath. Inhale, lift the heart out. Exhale, step back again into plank, top of a push-up. Again, option is always to put your knees down if you need to. Lift the sides of your waistlines up. Yeah. And then lower down slow. Knees can be down if you need to. Come all the way down to your belly with control. Let's take the hands for Cobra. So they're in line with the middle of your chest now. Glide your shoulders forward and back, and up, and then head up and back. Bhujangasana. Again, notice if there's extra gripping either in the shoulders, the arms, and just breathe that out. Exhale, lower. Go back, downward facing dog. So we're very tricky people. We'll have these habituated ways that we grasp and hold and try to control, like clenching your jaw at a time that's not necessary, which is most all the time, or holding your breath when it could flow more easily. Let the breath be. And you find that when you are settled in just being in the breath, there's a sense of more peace, more freedom. That's what we're going for. We're looking for. Look forward towards the top of your mat, step or hop forward again. And again, float the heart forward on the breath. And exhale, fold. Sweep your arms wide and come all the way up. And then join your palms in front of your heart. We'll do it one more time. Reach for the sky, lift up, grow a little taller as the legs go down, and then bow, Uttanasana. Extend your heart towards the front of the room and step back to plank. Exhale. Have the hands active in the mat and the arms strong, and then soften between your shoulder blades, melt your upper back. Gently lower, exhale all the way down. Then inhale up, Cobra, shoulders up and back. And then a little scan, check your jaw. Is it soft and easy? Can your breath still flow? Exhale, lower, go back, down dog. Let your breath come in sweet, easy, free movement. Nothing holding on to it, nothing gripping it. And then take your right leg high into the air in three-leg dog and step it forward to come into lunge. Bring your block close by. Your blocks can be nearby if they're not there already. You might want them in a minute. Bring your back heel down, right forearm to right thigh, left hand to your hip in Parshvakonasana, side angle. Yeah. Now just take a breath. Right, so as soon as you get here, notice if there's a grasping that happened either in your body or with your mind of like, it has to be like this. Squeeze the leg muscles without gripping them. So that's tension without overdoing. Inner thighs stay back, scoop your tail under, and then extend through your ribs. Take your heart more open, top arm up and over. From deep inside, extend out. So now you can bring your fingertips to the mat if you choose, the right fingertips, or just stay here. It's not about grasping for like some beyond perfect pose or trying to get past the edges, right? Especially not in this practice. We're just trying to be in those sweet, comfortable poses and go somehow deeper by paying attention to your breath and to the experience you're having. Exhaling, bring your left hand down to the mat. Lift your back heel, turn to lunge. Bring your back knee down. Right hand on your right thigh, inhale your left arm up, and then twist to the right and bring your elbow across. Join your palms. Squeezing the legs will help you stay steady. And you can stay right there or lift your back thigh off, back knee off. Keep engaging the legs without overworking them. And so that's going to be a little balancing factor for you to figure out what that means. They got to work, but not too much. Then take the sides of the rib cage back and see if you can turn your gaze up. Inhale and untwist. Place your fingertips on the mat. And this is where you might like to have your blocks on either side of your front ankle. Slowly stretch the front leg to straight. So certainly useful to have blocks if your hamstrings are, alive this morning. And then bend the front knee, look forward, lunge out. And then shift back again. Lunge forward. Shift back. Lunge forward. Step your back foot in a few inches, bring the heel down, and then straighten both legs again. Now, you may choose to keep your spine extended. That's enough for your hamstrings. Charge up the legs and take your left hip more to the left, your right hip more back. You also have the option to bow forward. So remember, it's not about gripping of some pose from the outside. Like, what does it look like from the outside? And I have to have the form that looks a particular way. Connect more with how does it feel to your body? Where can you be approaching the edge of the limitation of the muscle or the form, but not pushing beyond it, not grasping for something that could be out of reach in this moment. With your exhale, release any sense of pushing, forcing, grasping. Just be here with it, even though it may be a challenge, just be with it. When we can let go of grasping, peace appears. It's right there. When we don't try to grasp at it, very paradoxical. Inhale, lift your heart, bend your front knee. If you'd like, you can move through vinyasa. If you'd like, just step back to down dog or child's pose. So again, working within the body that you have today, what it wants and needs, what your experience is in this moment, what feels true for you. Excellent. Inhale and take your left leg high up into the air in three-leg dog. Step your left foot forward, come into a lunge, and bring your back heel down onto the mat. Bring your left forearm onto your left thigh, your right hand onto your hip, and open up your torso towards the left side. You receive the breath, open your whole body. Charge up the legs. Make the legs firm and steady. Even the inner right thigh, that one will tend to slack off. And then take the tops of both inner thighs back and wide. Hook your tail under. Low belly lifts. Yep. As you're ready, turn your ribs, turn your heart, and take your right arm up and over your ear. Option, bring your left fingertips to the floor on the outside of the left leg, or keep your left forearm right where it is. Be where you are today. Receiving the breath, take the sides of the ribs back more a little, and then see if you can turn your heart away from the floor. When we're not grasping, it feels like our hearts are more free, right? There's not as much congestion blocking the inner radiance that's always there. We're grasping for things to go one way. Things are blocked. Anything else is blocked. It's really hard. Exhaling now. Bring your right hand down to the mat. Turn to lunge. Bring your back knee down. Put your left hand on your left thigh and reach your right arm to the sky. Inhale. And exhale, twist. Bring your elbow across and join your palms. Tip your torso a little bit forward. Breathe first. So in the twisted position, the lungs are getting this kind of wrap happening and can feel a little constricted. So find the way to breathe into freedom. And then lift the back leg if you'd like, or keep it down, keeping the leg steady and firm. Hold the muscles. Wrap the right lung under, the left lung over, and turn your gaze towards the sky if it's available. Bring your hands down to the mat, untwist. You can put them on the blocks if that's better for you today. And then stretch the front leg straight. Back heel can stay up on this first one. And then lunge forward, look forward. Front leg straight, back thigh wide. Lunge forward, look forward, back thigh high. Straighten the front leg. And lunge forward. Walk your back foot in a couple of steps and turn the toes out. Then slowly straighten your front leg. You might start by extending your spine. So reach with freedom in your breath. Extend your ribs away from your hips more. Yeah. Then take the whole extension to bow over. And that keeps your lower back extended even as you're in the forward bend. Squeeze your your front leg. Squeeze your front hip in. And again, scan for places where you could be gripping, grasping, resisting the pose. It could be your throat. It could be your shoulders. And see if you can let go of any grasping and gripping, even as your legs stay strong and you experience sensation. Next, in breath, reach your ribs and your heart and your gaze towards the front. Bend your front knee, step back, either to go through another vinyasa or go to down dog or go to child's pose if you need to rest. Again, not gripping on what your body needs, not trying to control that. Really being clear about giving it exactly what it needs and wants. Whether that's what your brain thinks it needs and wants is a totally different story that is unrelated and not useful in this moment. Only what your body actually needs and wants, what we're interested in. So we're going to turn to the long edge of the mat in a forward fold. So in a wide leg forward fold. So I'm going to step my right leg forward so I end up facing you all. You might need to step your left leg forward. Totally up to you which one makes sense. But take a wide leg stance, turn all 10 toes towards the long edge of the mat, and then extend your spine. Yes, Prasar Tapatutanasana. Keeping your legs strong, take your left hand under your nose, take your right hand to your sacrum. Move your low back in and up with your right hand. And then slide your ribs towards the right. Wrap your left lung under your right lung over so you're at a twist without shifting the hips way over to the right. That's the hard part. I'll go with you all. That would make more sense. Then take your right arm to the sky or stay with the right arm down if you need to. Tricky thing is not to take your left hip. So resist in the left hip. And that will change where the twist is in the body. Totally fine. Twists help us to clear out anything that's unnecessary, unuseful. Just clear the body. And then afterwards, there's more freedom, more movement, more energy. Bring your right hand down, turn back towards the middle. Now put your right hand under your nose, take your left hand to your sacrum, move your low back in and up. Little cough to engage your low belly, and then slowly, keeping the hips as stable as you can, twist towards the left now. As you're ready, pick the left arm up. And if that feels like too much for your left shoulder, you can always keep it down. Now, resist the right hip. Widen the top of the right thigh, back to the right. And that'll keep you more in the center. Excellent. Exhaling, bring your hand back down into the middle. Come up on fingertips just for a moment. Big breath in. And with the legs steady and strong, exhale. Bow over to Prasar Tapatutanasana. You may want to bring your hands to your ankles or bring them back in chaturanga arms. I'm cool with either one. Mine changes every day. From the feet on the floor, draw up through both legs, making them firm and steady. Take the tops of the inner thighs wider, but do hook your buttocks flesh down, your tail down, and lift your low belly up towards the rib cage. What you'll find then is a cascading quality. So pushing down through the legs, your spine will cascade up and over the legs down towards the floor. Your head may reach, a little further towards the floor or all the way down onto the floor if it wasn't before. It might not. We're not grasping for the outer form. We're working the actions to help the body feel spacious and healed and connected and integrated with itself. Now come again up onto your fingertips. Inhale, reach your rib cage forward, and then turn back towards the front in a lunge and step back through a vinyasa or go to down dog or go to child's pose. Just check in again. What does your body want and need? How can you give it that with care and kindness and not resistance? Once again, take your right leg high into the air in three-leg dog, and then step through into lunge. You may want your block handy again, so I'm going to place a block on the inside of the right foot, and then step your left foot in and make both legs straight. With both legs straight, just like we had in Parsvottanasana, scissor the legs to the middle, hug the right hip in, take the left hip wide. Now, take your left hand onto the block or on the floor on the inside of the right foot. Take the right hand to your hip. You can stay right here. You can take the block across the foot or bring your hand to the floor on the outside of your foot. Either of those is fine. Shift your torso over your front leg. Now extend through your ribs. Wrap your left rib under, your right ribs over, and twist towards the right. Revolve Triangle. You can either stay there or take your arm up. Twist says, all right, you got to be super present. You can't hold on to any lingering doubts or other conversations. Be right here. Wring it all out. So the legs are steady. You let go of any gripping to stretch out more. Exhale, bring your right hand back down. Frame your front foot and step back to downward facing dog. Maybe you feel a difference between the two sides. I do. Inhale your left leg high, three-leg dog. Step it forward into lunge. Bring your block on the inside of your left foot. And then step your right foot in and straighten both legs. Pause to get the legs set up. So the legs draw up from the floor into the pelvis, and then the outer left hip, hug it in, right hip wide. Take your right hand onto the block. Take your left hand to your hip, your left hip. You can either stay there or take the block on the outside of the foot. You can put your hand on the mat on the outside of the foot as well. Lean your torso over your your left leg. Then extend. And then slowly, gently wrap your right lung under, your left lung over. Twist towards the left. And maybe take the arm up if it's available. Hurts the shoulder, don't bother. And again, rest in the breath for a moment. So as the legs stay steady, push downwards into the mat. Extend through your spine and all the way out through the top of your head. Let the twist help you let go of anything else that you can. Exhaling, bring your hand back down to the mat. And again, if you want a vinyasa for a last time, take one more vinyasa or go just to down dog. Or to child's pose. Everybody chose down dog. That's lovely. Take a breath in down dog. Push the arms down and forward. Press the legs back and down. Heels down. And then step your right foot forward again. Walk your right foot towards the left for pigeon pose. Open your right knee. Lower your left knee. Lift up in your torso for a moment. To soften your face, there's a tendency to get into pigeon and just go, like really grip everything up, right? That's why often I start by teaching like, take a breath. It really is, take a breath, soften. Feel where your body is right now as you start the pigeon. And then with the legs steady, left hip a little more left, right hip a little more back. Lift up in your low belly, and then walk your hands forward, come down, pigeon. Again, be vigilant to those places where gripping, grasping, tension creeps in without your permission, without your conscious acceptance of that, right? So it's your jaw, your neck, maybe the corners of your eyes. Soften your lips. When we soften those unconscious places of contraction, we have a different experience. There's a lot more ease, even though the body is working. Your eyes can be softer. So you're seeing with more compassion, not just, this is my way. Good. Keep the legs strong as you bring your hands back, and that just protects your back and your legs. And then step back to downward facing dog. Move your right leg around in space a little just to get it to return to a little bit more normal. And then right leg down, step your left leg forward. Walk it towards the right side, open the left knee, lower the right to come to pigeon on the second side. Again, we start in a vertical position so you can get your bearings. Make any adjustments. Soften your jaw. Scissor the legs now. So the legs are strong, right hip right, left hip back. Lifting up the low belly gives you a little support from underneath, then come forward. Exhale as you come forward. It's like releasing the burdens that you didn't even know you were carrying. Again, scan, feel for the places of unconscious tension in your jaw, in your tongue, in your lips, in your neck. And as those places release, reap the benefit, feel the spaciousness of your breath, the greater sense of ease and relaxation in the body, even though pigeon is not easy and can include a lot of strong sensation. Sensation's not a problem. The challenge comes when we resist it and we fight against it. We try to grasp and say, oh, it should be different, or I shouldn't feel this way. Now, sensation's just sensation. Feel it and then allow for it to shift and change. Become curious, actually. Keeping the legs steady just as they are, walk your hands back. And again, go to downward facing dog. Can lift the left leg and move it around some. Feel how that brings a little more life into the left leg. And then lowering your left leg, bend both knees and come down into child's pose. Big toes touch, knees are wide. Just take 1 or 2 breaths. See how much you can release into child's pose as long as the body is comfortable. Slowly now walk your hands back towards your body and come up to seated. We will take one seated posture before we go towards the restorative postures. So if you need your blanket to sit on, feel free to grab your blanket. I'm going to sit up on one. I'm going to turn sideways for you this time. Take both legs straight out ahead of you. Yep. Move your low back in and up as you do, and then roll both inner thighs towards the mat and wide. Now, heels forward, toes up and back. Bring your fingertips to the floor on either side if you push down and slightly out to help yourself sit up more tall. And then inhale, lift. Exhale and bow. So the hands are going to come wide, and they may land, by your knees or your shins, or you may take more of a little deeper forward bend. Wherever the hands land is where they land. Again, it's not about grasping for some picture of the outer pose. It's more about responding to what's actually going on physically inside your body in this moment with compassion, with truth, honesty, without grasping, with kind of listening to yourself and letting what you find out guide you. Keep the legs strong and pushing towards the mat. That will help anchor you. And lift up the low belly, just like we did in the forward bend earlier. You may find when the low belly lifts, your spine extends a little more. Might be something you feel. It's not like required that you are in any particular place. You're just having an experience. Soften your lips again. And then slowly bring your hands alongside your legs, shoulders back, inhale, lift your heart, and gently come back up. Excellent. So now we'll prepare for restorative poses. And again, you'll take whatever you have, blankets, block, beach towels, whatever you've got, and make a good sturdy stack. And you want them to be somewhere around like this thick. So if you have things that you can make about that thick, that's good stuff. I know that when you are at home, you don't have like bolsters and the normal setup. So do what you can. It'll feel good no matter what. That's the good thing. And then you want to create it so that you have a smooth end, like one smooth end. They're all at this, it's all pointing in the same direction. And that the fringe, if you have fringe, or the weird edge is pointing in the same direction. So smooth folds all go together. That just gives you a little bit more solid kind of base to be working from. So I'm just watching you all folding slowly so you have a chance to get there. So, but I have a nice good stack of these yoga blankets. It's nice to be able to give yourself a certain amount of lift, whatever amount of sturdy lift you can, and then you can always take things away if you need to. For this first one, if you're still folding, keep on folding, no problem. If you're ready, you're going to take these blankets, smooth fold towards you, and they're going to go about a little bit less than halfway down your mat. Yeah, smooth fold towards you. And you may want a block nearby or a pillow if you have it. So that's just going to set out in front. You're going to take, I'm going to drape my, this is my, looks like my left side. So let's call it my left side across the blanket. So I'm going to lay on the left hip, and then the left side rib cage below the armpit, that side of the rib cage is going to drape onto the blankets. The arm comes out, and you can either, just lay your head onto your arm, but that can be kind of far. So if you have an extra pillow or an extra blanket or a block, you can just put the block or pillow or blanket on your arm. Now, your left arm comes up and over. Your right arm comes up and over. Hold your right hand with your left hand. Hold your right wrist with your left hand. That's what I'm trying to say. And give a little pull. Legs can stay stacked, or you can take your top leg forward and your bottom leg back just a bit. Do your best to turn your ribs so that the side of your ribs, the right side rib cage, is really up towards the sky. We won't stay here for super long, so let yourself settle in as quickly as you can. And as you know, for restorative posture, if it's uncomfortable, that's not what we're going for. We're going for extremely comfortable. So if it is uncomfortable, listen to the wisdom of your body and make some adjustments. Totally fine to do it a little bit differently than how I'm doing it, if you're finding some comfort and it helps you to open. Top arm can literally just rest on your head. It doesn't have to be active at all. And really rest into your exhale. Use the exhale to settle more deeply into your body and into this pose. Use the exhale to help you let go. Gently release your wrist hold and bring your top hand in front of you on the blanket. Actually, you can take your pillow or block away using that top hand and then push down into the blanket. Let your head be light and soft. Slowly come back up. And you may choose to just turn around. I'm going to move my blanket so that I can see you all while we do this, but you can just turn your body around to the other way. Again, the smooth side is facing your hips. So for the second side, you're going to drape your rib cage, your left rib cage now, sorry, your right rib cage over the blanket. Armpit is off. And you'll find the sweet spot wherever it really feels comfortable for you, but it should pop your upper side rib cage towards the sky just a little bit. Add a block or a pillow if you'd like for your head. And then take your left arm up and over top. Hold the left wrist with the right hand. Again, if that causes tension, if it's too much, you don't have to do it. But it does help to open the side body a little bit more. That's why I like it. Optional to split the legs. The top leg comes forward, the bottom leg goes back. And again, that invites this kind of opening on the side body a little bit differently. Once you find the sweet spot where you can stay balanced, your body feels comfortable, then let go. Notice if there's ways that you're trying to grip onto this pose and just soften. Your legs might need to bend a little. Top arm rests lightly on your head. Let your jaw release. And again, pay deep attention to your exhales. Not that you're trying or forcing them to be any particular way, but particularly feel them. And every exhale, release into the pose a little bit more. Gently release the clasp of the hands. Bring your top hand underneath to take hold of the blanket and the pillow or block, slide that out of the way. Take your top hand to your blankets, push down, and bring yourself slowly back up. Excellent. So now we'll take the blankets and turn them long ways on the mat, and they can stay near the top of the mat. Continuing with our twisting. So let's see, we just had the right side there. So let's sit on the left hip. So I'll be turned away from you for just a moment, but you'll see what I'm doing. You're going to sit with your left hip towards the blanket. I'm sitting on the left buttock, the left hip is towards the blanket, feet are stacked. And then it's this revolved child's pose kind of feeling. So you're going to turn your belly towards the blanket and walk your torso out along it. Then lay down onto the blankets. So you can turn your head in the same direction as your knees. That's a little gentler for your spine. Or you can turn your head away. And if you need not to twist, you can just do a regular child's pose on the blankets. Your hands can rest just alongside the blankets. I like to bend my elbows and have my hands reaching up in the same direction as my head. That feels really good. And then again, once you've found the place of comfort, give your body permission to let go of anything that it's holding on to. It does not need to hold your weight. You do not need to strain or to work in any way. Just allow yourself to be held by the props and by your breath. Release your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Very slowly walk your hands back beneath your shoulders. Press your hands down into the floor and slowly lift your body up off of the blankets. The easiest way to switch is just turn your hips in the other direction. Doesn't take much. So now your right hip is alongside the blankets, sort of resting on the right side buttock. Then lifting your torso up, walk yourself out along the blankets. And again, you can start with the head in one direction, in the direction of the knees, and then turn it. Or if you feel ready for the deeper twist, go ahead and turn your head in the opposite direction to begin with. If at any point while you're in the pose, your neck becomes uncomfortable because your head is turned too far, just bring it back. Allow your body to rest deeper into the support beneath it. And again, soften your lips and allow your tongue to rest on the bottom of your mouth. Gently now bring your hands back towards your hips. Push them down into the floor and lift yourself slowly back off of your blankets. Excellent. So I think we all have wall space that we can use. We're going to take legs up the wall. So you can use blankets or not. The thing that I have found that I really like is to make a T with the blankets. So one blanket stays how we have it folded and comes directly perpendicular to the wall. The other two, because I have three, go like a T right at the wall. So the smooth part, well, let's start with this. Let's turn our mats. I'm going to turn my mat. So one or more blankets goes with the smooth edge of the blanket facing away from the wall, stacked like this, just a little tiny bit away from the wall. That's where your hips are going to be. And then if you have another blanket, it may feel good, it has felt good to me, to put it like a T coming out. Now, if you don't have enough lift, I would recommend having more lift than worrying about having the T part. You may also want to have a strap close by for your shins. So if you're going to do a strap on the shins, you make a big loop before you even get up there. That'll make it easier. One, go through both and back through one. Big loop, and then you'll have it to put on in a second. So to get into legs up the wall, I know you all have done this, but just in case it's been a little while, sit with your hips on the blanket, one hip towards the wall, one away from the wall. And then you're going to bring the hand that's away from the wall closer and sort of lift the buttocks towards the wall. And then the hand that's away from the wall comes down, elbow down, shoulder down, and roll. And I'm landing with my hips on the blankets, my buns hanging kind of off so my sitting bones hit the wall. And then my shoulder blades are on the blankets, my arms will be off. So adding the strap, if you'd like, around the shins, you have the big loop, and just put your shins through the loop and then tighten it. They don't need to touch, but just so there's a little bit of tension. My feet are landing about 8 inches apart, 10 inches apart, and the shins resting. So the strap's just helping to hold me up. Yeah. If at any point when you're in this legs up the wall position, you start to feel uncomfortable, just allow your legs to slowly come down and come into a Shavasana position instead. So we're going to stay here a few minutes and then I'll offer you Shavasana, but you can certainly choose to stay here even longer if you'd like. Release any tension between your toes. And let your feet completely soften and relax. All the muscles of the feet work so hard every day to keep us moving. This is the opportunity for them to release their grip, to soften. Again, notice any tension around your breath and your breathing. And release those unconscious holding patterns. Let them just soften out. And we release these unconscious bits. What we're left with is more consciousness, more peace and freedom, a sense of being radiant from the inside out. If you would like, you can bend your knees and come down, make a transition into Shavasana. Or, if you prefer, stay in legs up the wall for the last several minutes of practice. To come to Shavasana, you take your strap off your legs, you bend your knees, you roll to one side, and then sort of slide off the blankets and move slowly to transition to Shavasana. Otherwise, just rest. Rest in legs up the wall. softly start to deepen your breath wherever you are. Send breath to your fingers and toes. And then if your legs are still up, just gently bend your knees. If you're on your back still, stretch in any way that feels good. And we'll meet up on the side. So roll over to your side and just pause there for a moment. And take in these words from Dana Faults again. This is called one. Within us lie the answers to our deepest questions and the antidote for all our fears. The divine is not an abstraction. It's as clear and intimate as a heartbeat or a whisper. We are penetrated, suffused, caressed, cell by cell and synapse by synapse, with the same love that set the galaxies to spinning. No matter how identified we've become with mind and body, we can release the thoughts that blind us to the truth. Seek the still point where the words you and I lose meaning, where we meet and merge as one. Softly press your hands down into the mat and make your way back up to seated. You can sit up on your blanket if you wish. Close your eyes, turn back inwards for a moment. Notice what's left when you release. Notice the deeper sense of clarity, an inner feeling of settledness. May your practice help you to release, again, whatever's unconscious, whatever's unnecessary, so that you can be left centered, peaceful, resting in the freedom that is at the center of your own heart. You can bring your palms up now, join them in front of you. We'll chant one Om to close. Welcome your in-breath. Namaste. Alrighty. Thank you all so much for joining practice again today.